What's going on, guys? This is Gabriel from Renaissance Gaming. Welcome back to this part of the Legend of Zelda playthrough. And in this episode I'm going to be doing both dungeon number 2 and dungeon number 3. And that's because these are pretty short dungeons, and it's kind of unfair to you guys to watch just a 2-3 minute video. So I put them together in one video. So I can actually make my way right to the second dungeon, the Moon Dungeon. So that's where I'm going right now. It's a bit of a walk, so just bear with me as I kill some enemies and make my way down there. I find the levers are pretty fun to kill, but I just go right by the P-hats. I hate dealing with them, because you have to wait until they stop moving before you can actually attack them. And hopefully you're starting to familiarize yourself with the map and you'll recognize some of the screens here. And right up these stairs is already the second dungeon of the game. But I gotta kill these Octoroks. I love killing Octoroks. They blow up when you hit them. It's great stuff. So this is the Moon Dungeon, the second dungeon of the game. And right here we're going to meet a new enemy. These snake-like creatures that live in the dungeon are called ropes. And they tend to leave a lot of money behind. So you can actually just exit and re-enter this dungeon and kill ropes. And you can make a lot of money that way. For some reason, ropes have money. Go figure. And it seems that a lot of the dungeons have an enemy that predominate it, and in this case it is the rope. You'll see a lot of them in this dungeon. As you can see, this is what our fourth screen that we've had ropes in. But they're pretty easy to deal with. They do charge at you, but as long as you're facing the right way, you can swat at them. And right here we can get the compass from all these little gels. And there's a secret wall here at the top that we can bomb. And here's the map, and you can see that this is the Moon Dungeon. You can see that it is shaped like a moon, a crescent moon. Here the blue Goria, they're significantly more difficult than the red ones. They take a lot more hits. Plus you also have these statues in the corner shooting orbs at you, but if you have the magical shield you can deflect them. And this leaves behind the magical boomerang. It upgrades your regular boomerang into a more powerful one. I actually never used the boomerang in this playthrough. I mainly rely on my sword. This is yet another new enemy. It's called the Moldorm. They're pretty much giant worms, and they get smaller as you hit them. No secret here. Bunch more ropes here, and as you can see, this time stopper item will just freeze them into place. It's very useful for some screens. A bunch of Goria here, and it can be kind of difficult to deal with it just because of all the blocks here, but you can do a good job if you just move around and use your shield effectively. And they leave some bombs in the top right corner once you kill all of them. And you will need the bombs because this old man will tell you that Dodongo dislikes smoke, and that is a hint for how to defeat the boss of this dungeon, Dodongo, which I will be fighting right now. And just like he said, put some bombs in him and he's done for. And if the first boss of the game was a joke, this guy is an epic joke. As you can see, it's just 2 bombs and he leaves behind his heart. You can go on through and get the second Triforce piece of the game. That's 2 of 8. And next I can make my way directly to the third dungeon of the game. It's called the Manji Dungeon. And that's exactly where I'm going. There's nothing to get before heading over there. But it is a bit of a far walk. You'll notice that towards the beginning of this playthrough, I would pretty much kill everything that was on the screen, and I still kind of continue to do that depending on the enemy. But as I progress to this playthrough, you'll see me start to lose patience and get a little hasty and start ignoring a lot more enemies. I'm always down to kill some Octoroks though. And hopefully you recognize some of these screens. This is where we got the blue candle earlier. In that cave right there, there's a shop. And this bridge should be very familiar. We've passed by it multiple times already. I remember when I first played this game, I was pretty little, so I didn't really know about walkthroughs on the internet or anything like that. So I actually just got a piece of notebook paper and I kind of mapped out all the screens on paper. It was a lot of fun to do. So here's the third dungeon of the game. It's called the Manji dungeon. And this is a new enemy. It's called the Zol. And it's pretty much a big version of the gel. And if you hit them with a wooden sword, they actually split up into 2 gels. But since we have the white sword, you can kill them in 1 hit. And I always feel guilty about killing them because they look so friendly and nice. But they're not. They'll hurt you. So just kill them. This is a new enemy, the Dark Nut. And they're pretty much a knight that likes to live in these underground labyrinths. You can't attack them from the front because they have a shield. So you kind of have to angle yourself around them and hit them. But as long as you keep moving, they should not be too much of a problem. This room's a little bit more difficult because there are the blocks here, so it makes your mobility a bit more limited. But again, as long as you keep moving and angle yourself properly, you'll be able to deal with these Dark Nuts. They are pretty good at turning into you right as you strike them to block with their shield. As you can see, it's taking me a while to kill these here. But just be patient and keep moving. That's the secret. Just keep moving. Don't stand still. In this screen there's a bunch of them, but it's actually a little easier than the previous screen because you have more space to move around, in my opinion. And you don't have to kill all these. You can just go down the stairs, but I don't know, I figured I would. Because it's pretty fun. They are protecting the secret item of the game, of the dungeon I mean, and you'll see here that it is the raft. And the raft is required to reach the 4th dungeon of the game, which I'll be doing in the next video. And it pretty much allows you to transverse a small portion of water. You don't really have any control when you're in the water, it just goes from one set point to another. And you'll see what I mean in the next video when I head over to dungeon number 4. Here's another new enemy, it's the Bubble. You'll see them floating around, and the manual describes them as the spirit of the dead. And they don't do damage to you, but if they touch you, you lose the ability to use your sword for a short while. So it can be quite difficult to deal with, and they're constantly moving around, so it's kind of hard to maneuver around them while you're trying to deal with the other enemies in the screen. They're actually my least favorite enemy in this game. I find them very difficult to deal with, and they kind of ruin my flow a lot of the times. Here we have another old man screen. He says, "Did you get the sword from the old man on top of the waterfall?" And that is something I did in the first video. He's referring to the old man that gives you the white sword on top of a waterfall. And if you missed the first video, I did say that I'm going to be going through all of the old man screens in this game, just for the purpose of showing all of these screens. There's some pretty iconic Zelda quotes that come from them, and I decided I'd like to show all of them, since I'm a huge Zelda fan. It's kind of annoying that he repeats himself as you pass through the screen, but oh well, nothing we can do about that. here we finally get the map, and you will see that this manji dungeon is actually shaped like a swastika. So, we were playing Moses earlier, so this is not a very good place for us to be. So this is the boss. He's Manhandla, and he's pretty much a giant man-eating flower, and I just manhandled Manhandla. So be sure to join me on the next video where I'll do dungeon number 4. Thanks for watching.
Altissimi